And Vance went in with a lot of doubts that because one of the things we do, which is awesome, is that we ask people before the debate, what are your initial impressions? And let me be candid with you. The initial impressions of Senator Vance were quite negative, and there were people who were voting for Trump that did not like his vice presidential pick, and people were voting for Harris because of Trump's vice presidential pick. And that was not the reaction throughout the debate. Every time there's a commercial break, I have the opportunity to seek out their point of view. So we listened to voters 55 minutes into the debate, and then again an hour and almost 30 minutes into the debate. And the conclusions were clear and almost universal. Number one, both candidates dealt with the issues and gave specifics. Number two, both candidates were forthcoming with answers to really tough questions. However, Waltz fell short in being candid about issues such as inflation and about his previous service and what he would do with the border. Vance had the advantage. The only criticism of Vance was that he would not defend and would not articulate opposition to Donald Trump claiming that the 2020 election was stolen or rigged. Other than that, the public, and these are one-time undecided voters, gave Vance the edge because they thought he was more willing to deal with facts, more willing to be specific, and most importantly, more willing to set out exactly what needs to happen in the future rather than going back and relitigate what happened between 2016 and 2020.
Well, let's walk through a couple of these moments that you mentioned here, Frank. Indeed, Tim Walz had some trouble with a couple of questions early on that you would have expected that he would be prepared for, including this controversy over when he was actually in China and whether he was in Hong Kong at the time of Tiananmen Square. I just want to go back to the debate last night for that exchange, the way he handled that moment where he was given the opportunity to clean this up.
Just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protest, went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
He had some trouble with that one, and I'm guessing that that's something that they worked on in prep, knowing that he was doing mock debates. Frank, I wonder your thoughts on that. And I saw another post on X last evening during the debate, that moment in which Tim Walz, for some reason, said that he was friends with school shooters. I guess he meant to say he'd become friends with victims of school shootings. Does this matter for the voter?
It doesn't. Voters are very forgiving. Voters believe in a term that I'll use for your listeners, grace, and they will allow people to make a misstep. But if they think that you're ducking the question, that is unforgivable when you're only 5 weeks away from the election. And they thought that Tim Walz was much more likely to duck the questions than J.D. Vance. And in particular, when you're talking about either immigration or national security or personal security, the idea that you aren't crystal clear and explicit, you'll get punished by the electorate. And that was his single worst moment of the debate. I didn't even know that that was his excuse. Sounds reasonable to me, but last night, the group that I was watching was really unforgiving that he would say such a thing. And this is what makes for a debate winner and a debate loser.